Good morning. I'm having a go today at doing Chelsea buns. I can't remember, and I don't think I've ever done these before. However, I've had a quick look online at some recipes, and I've kind of got a bit of a gauge where it's going. Difference between the Chelsea bun and the Belgian bun. The Chelsea bun, which we do, they're both like a fruit-filled sweet dough, but I think the Belgian bun tends to have more stuff like citrus in it, so it might have lemon curd in. I think its shape as well. The difference is between the Chelsea bun is square and the Belgian bun is a round one, if I'm correct. And also the difference is, I think on top of the Belgian bun they have icing and a cherry. Well, we're not doing that because we're doing Chelsea buns, but there might be some little twists in it. So this is a new recipe that I've just devised today, so let's have a go. Not done it before, so we're going to record it in case it works. I don't see why it shouldn't work, because we're just following basic principles, so that's what we're going to do. So first things first, of late I've been using a few different flours, depending on what breads I'm making. Mainly is because I'm trying to streamline some of the flours I've got, because I've been baking quite a lot of bread and I buy a lot of flour. So I'm trying to get like one flour that'll do a few different things, rather than have lots of individual flours for different, like, specific things. But saying that, I know from your perspective at home, it's easier to get hold of just stuff that you can get off the shelf at the supermarket. So I'm kind of going back today to the one that I started with, and it's a Matthews Cotswold strong white flour. This one is 12.5% protein, which I've been talking about protein a lot. It's protein what develops into the gluten, which gives it the strength and stretchiness. So the higher that, the more stretchiness, the more strength it's got. So for certain things, like really big, dense, not dense loaves, but like sourdough, which is quite a robust loaf, you want something really high in gluten, because it's got a lot of structure to it. Whereas something like a soft roll, you want a bit less protein. So we're going for one which is 12.5%. This one, strong white, as opposed to very strong flour. That all said, forget about that, because we're just doing these Belgian buns. So not hard. It shouldn't be hard. If it is hard, I'm getting something wrong. So let's crack on. So the recipe, as always, I'm going to weigh everything in grams. Even liquids get weighed in grams. We're going to start off with 500 grams of our flour. So let's crack in there. 500 grams of flour straight away. No messing, no sifting, no carry on. Just get it in the bowl. You know, there's sometimes a lot of emphasis placed on stuff that, you know, they used to sift flour a long time ago. Be part of the old process wasn't as good, but they used to sift it to sift out like weevils and all sorts of different things you didn't want in your flour. It doesn't cause us a problem nowadays. So like I say, ask the question, why am I doing this? Is it adding anything? If it adds something to it, by all means do it, and there's a reason behind it. But if not, let's not. Right, today I'm not using dried yeast. However, what I'm going to say is, I get it free from the supermarket now. It's the fresh stuff. Now there's not a lot of difference in the baking, or the kind of you know, the qualities of dried to fresh. Fresh smells a little bit better when it's baking and when it comes out, but there's really nothing in it that you need to worry about. Oh, I must have fresh. Because I use dried, it's just I've got the fresh here. So I'm going to use about 14 grams of fresh yeast. I normally use 10, but this is an enriched dough. Actually, I'm going to use 15. And the reason I'm going to do that, it's an enriched dough, so I'm kind of adding a little bit more than I'd normally add for a loaf, which would be one sachet, which is 7 grams of your dried stuff. So this I'm putting in here, which will be equivalent to basically a sachet and a half of the dried stuff. And you say, oh, what am I going to do with the other half? Just bung it in there. It'll just make it a bit quicker. Honestly, it won't cause you a problem at all. in fact, when I'm doing recipes with, and what are you saying, why are you not putting so much in there? Well, as it's a first recipe, I'm kind of giving myself a bit of time, because one thing like this does is it does speed up the raising process, or the resting process, where it's doing its thing and it's starting to rise for the first time. That being said, let's just crack on, because I know we've got bread to make, or we've got buns to make. So let's get on with it. Normally I put 10 grams of salt in. Because this is a sweet one, I want salt, but I don't want it a full-on kind of savoury flavour bread. So I'm just going to half that. Like I say, I've done it, so it works out about with teaspoons, but let's get somewhere near. I'm using sea salt flakes, molten sea salt, which I always use. Better flavour, less chemically tasting, and all in all, it's just a better salt. But that's my opinion. By all means, use whatever salt you've got. But all I'm kind of, the point I was getting to, it won't, if you put a teaspoon of salt, sea salt on there, look more, because it's got a lot of gaps in it, where if you put a big teaspoon of table salt, it'll be more, it will actually weigh more, because you get more on it, basically. So that all being said, so I've got me, right, I always do things in order, so I've got my yeast, my salt. As this is a sweet one, sticking with my dry goods, I'm going to put in 40 grams, 50 grams actually of sugar. I'm using golden castor. If you want to use normal castor, please do. Avoid the granulated stuff, because the granulated stuff can just take a little bit more to dissolve in there, and you don't want that. You just want everything kind of mixed and incorporated as quick as you can. So I'm going to put 50 grams in there of sugar. Like I say, this is a first recipe, so if you like, this is recipe number 1, mark 1, and let's give it a go from there. The next thing I'm going to put in, I've got a couple I'm actually thinking about on the fly here, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to put in 40 grams of butter. I'm not melting it. A lot of the recipes say melting. Well, I don't for any of my other recipes, so I'm thinking, why am I going to do it for this? Is it going to give me anything? I think not. So I'm just going to cut it into small slivers. It's easier to put in, mix in it for example, but it's also easier to weigh like that in the smaller slivers. So I'm getting about 5-10 grams at a time. So 35 in there. Let's get that up to 39 and just a touch more. That'll do perfect. 40 on the money. Right, I said I'm going to decide a couple of things what I'm going to put in. So I've got my egg to go in, but kind of a couple of things I'm having a little think about is, I know Belgian buns have citrus, and but we are putting fruits in regardless. We're putting sultanas in, we're putting some mixed spices in. So what I'm thinking of, I might just put like a hint of citrus in the dough, and a hint actually in the mix as well, just as a lift, not to say it's dominantly there, because like say Belgian ones might have lemon curd in there, I think, or something like that. I'm not going to do that today, because I'm not making Belgian ones, I'm making Chelsea ones. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some zest in here. So I've got a lemon, and I'm just going to zest that up. No juice, just less. I'll have to ignore that. Somebody's trying to get hold of me, and they always do when I'm trying to make a video, and it's always the case. Oh, you're not videoing it. I'm always videoing. Yeah, honestly, they should know by now. They'll know why I'm ignoring them. I'm guessing it's my sister. I will get back to her. Right, so I've got my salt in. I've got everything else in. So the only other thing I was thinking about adding, and this is just basically, because I'm putting most of my breads now, a bit of dough improver. So it does improve the rise and texture and freshness and everything. So what I'm going to do, see, I'm adding a full 10 grams, I'm just going to put 5 grams in there. And just, like I said, I always add it in places where I can see. Like I'm adding it on top of the sugar here, so I can see that, you know what, I've put that in. So if anything goes on, somebody phones me, like, and I do actually answer, and I come back to it, I think, where am I up to? Well, I can see everything. I know where I put everything. I can see everything in the book, so I know exactly where I'm up to. So I'll put 5 grams. If you, like I say, if you don't put that in, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the lemon zest. None of these are essential. Don't worry about the fresh yeast, not essential. We'll go with dried yeast. If you put 2 sachets in, perfect. It's my sister again. If she asks 3 times, I might have to answer. So what we're putting in now, 1 egg. We're getting our wets now, and we're nearly there, so you don't have to endure me for much longer. That's 55 grams of egg in there, which is about right. That's a medium egg, by the way. 300 grams. I've seen it a lot less, and I think it's going to be a tough dough. So I'm actually putting 300 grams in rather than some of them I've seen as low as 200. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be a tough dough, that. And I think it might be meant to be like that, but you know, it's my recipe. I'm going to try it like this. I've seen it higher, but I've seen it a lot lower. I think Paul Hollywood uses higher, so which is not a bad thing. And we are using milk rather, so that 300 grams of milk is equivalent to 270 grams of water, because milk contains 90% water, the rest of the proteins and stuff. So that's thrown in for free, that. You can have that. Forget about it, like, it's just part of the recipe. So, and all we're going to do now, that's everything done. We're going to mix this for 15 minutes. Slow to start with, like I've said before. Get it on. Slow to start with, and then we'll get it up. I'll ramp this up to about number 3.5 on here. Make sure it doesn't fall off the top. I've had a couple of accidents, you know, these just vibrate off the top. I mean, your brand new machine is away at Kenwood, because it vibrated off the top and smashed on the floor. £1,000 machine. Well, actually more than that to buy the whole thing. So I was thinking, oh, I don't believe this. Anyway, they've took it in under warranty, so credit to them for that. Right, let's get this rammed up. So I'm just waiting for that to come back, sent back to me by the end of the month, but we'll wait and see. But so I'm demoted back to, this is good, this. I've had it for yonks. It's an old Kenwood, but it does the job, really does the job. So right, it's going to be quite tough to hold this, I know, I can tell. It's sucked up all the moisture straight away, yeah. So I'm going to give it 15 minutes, going to get a bit of elastic and a bit sorted out. And then it won't take much kneading and put it into the bowl, because it's a dry mix. So that's it. Come back, have a look, and we'll squeeze on from there. Rest of the stuff, you know, I need some, for the next part of the recipe, once it's risen and everything, put some cinnamon, put some ground allspice, and a bit of orange. I think I might stick some orange zest on the inside, a bit of butter, a bit of sugar, roll it up, bake it, bit of glaze on top. Anyway, that's in the future, if we get that far. So this is it for now. If I don't smash my machine up, we're going to vibrate off the top. So I'll see you soon. Sit tight, take care, that's what we're doing. Bye for now.